So a lot of people are interested in wondering what's going on with Microsoft now that there's this kind of shakeup within the Xbox game division. And one of the things that people asked me right away was, hey, what's up with Shannon Loftus? Is she still in charge? Is she still the one that's going to get games out to Xbox? No, she answers to Booty as well. So there is that going on. A lot of people will have to realize that Phil Spencer is still the boss. But at the end of the day, this new promotion, it means everything for Microsoft, because that's what's going to really kind of change the foreground, the way that Microsoft goes about getting games and things like this. And they asked Phil Spencer, actually, about how he handled the sensitivity of promoting a peer to be chief, making sure that the other people who might have wanted the same job are happy. And he says, in any function, in any industry, it's something you need to think about. The first thing, which starts with me, is the team of our studio's heads and how cohesive that organization is. This sounds kind of cheesy, but it's a team of teamwork. The teams are all pulling together. They don't view each other as competitors. It's about how they can help each other. That's the great starting point. So then he was talking to all the leaders and things like that. They started having discussions before making the decision about Matt on the organization itself. Matt came through his discussions with his leaders, like Bonnie and Rod Ferguson, as the person they wanted. That team voted for Matt even before Phil Spencer finally voted for Matt and formally made a decision. It doesn't always happen that way, he says, but when it does, when it doesn't, it becomes a challenge. And that's probably been the easiest promotion from that level that I've had, because of all the leaders that have been so supportive of Matt. That's really because of the way Matt shows up. He doesn't need to be the person on stage. He doesn't aspire to be the person who's leading all the franchises or seen as the spokesperson. He's really about enabling people in the organization to do the best work. You bring up something through that as a manager and a leader in the organization. I want to stay close and make sure I'm supporting all of our studio heads. Luckily, Shannon and Rod and Craig, they're not shy about giving me feedback on how things are going, so communication will be key. And then they asked Matt, like, what kind of decisions will float up to him and stop with him, the kind of decisions that he'll need to make as opposed to decisions Phil might make or a studio head might make. And he says he anticipates that they will fall into two categories. The first, there's a lot of operations material that happens as part of being a big company like Microsoft, from budgeting to tracking all the folks that we have working in the studios, even things that are just very day-to-day, like where do we all sit and how do we form a culture by being closer to each other. There have been certain times over the last 3 years where the studio hands working individually. We'll have these jump balls that have to be taken to Phil to referee, or we look at each other and wait for someone to blink. This will be an opportunity to get in front of that and be more proactive so we can solve things as a group. I don't think that's because of any lack of skill or desire to do that. It's just that we haven't had the luxury of having someone in that role where that's their day-to-day job. So basically what he's saying is, before, a lot of people's hands were tied. You had to wait for Phil, and now it's not like that. So this is really a massive announcement. This is really a massive change from the structure standpoint of Microsoft Game Studios. He says, I think there's a real opportunity well above the reality of running a large business, which is the opportunity for the studios to build some bridges between each other. As Phil pointed out, the studio heads really do get along with each other. They spend quite a bit of time meeting together and thinking about how we can support each other, but getting studios together for things like, let's get all of our art directors together, let's have some opportunities for studios to visit each other and see what they're doing in terms of technology. So they want to share tech, sort of like how Rare shared their water tech with Turn 10 and Playground Games to get the water in Forza Horizon 3 that way. Those things take time and coordination. They need a dedicated team to make that happen. I'm most excited to think about the opportunity of bringing the studio cultures together so they can learn from each other and really be in a service to the studio head so they can go after some things around culture, operations, and things like that. So realistically, it's just about moving things forward and bringing kind of peace and getting all these groups together. So I think that's really something special, and I'm excited to see what Microsoft does with that in the future as well. Like, it's a very exciting time to be an Xbox fan. I know for sure that this means a lot to a lot of people, and some people still had questions about what Matt Booty's role would be and what it means to Microsoft in general. And so it's nice to see that we will see sort of him running the interference and stuff like that. Not everybody has to go through Phil, and I think that's pretty damn awesome. But I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. I will link this so you can check it out. Rack 'em up. Have a great day. Crapgamer out.